He built a fortune before he turned 30. Cars, houses, and influence, everything a man could dream of. But one night with the wrong woman all was destroyed. His businesses crumbled, his name turned to shame, and even his friends disappeared. What happened that night? And how did his mother's prayers bring him back from the ashes? This is the true story of a man who rose twice, and lost it all in between. Adedeo was born in Oyo town, into a humble family. His father, a retired civil servant, and his mother, Mama Deo, a devoted prayer woman, raised him with discipline and strong moral values. But Deo had a restless spirit. Even in secondary school, he would sell chin-chin to his classmates for profit. By the time he got into LawTech, he was already running online mini importation and making money from drop shipping. After NYSC, he dived into tech, learning coding, crypto trading, and launching his own e-commerce app. People mocked him at first, especially when he failed twice, but his third startup took off. Within 3 years, Adedeo became one of the youngest millionaires in Oyo State. He built a mansion for his parents, donated to mosques, and even opened a tech hub for youth. Everyone praised his humility, but what nobody knew was that beneath his success, Deo was getting spiritually careless. He stopped going to mosque, he stopped praying, and slowly, temptations crept in. Mama Deo noticed but said nothing, only intensified her fasting and prayers. She feared that too much wealth without spiritual cover might destroy her son. And she was right. Adedeo was invited to a tech conference in Lagos. That was where he met Saad, a mysterious woman with glowing skin and seductive charm. She wore a red dress that looked like royalty and spoke with a mix of sweetness and danger. They sat together at lunch, and by nightfall, they were in the same hotel room. And that night changed everything. Deo didn't know she was a spiritual agent, what elders used to call a witch. After they slept together, he woke up with a pounding headache, but worse, he felt empty. Something in him had shifted. He couldn't explain it, but he knew something had been stolen, his peace, his light, his favor. Within weeks, things began to crash. His tech app got hacked. Investors pulled out. His bank accounts were frozen due to fraud allegations. Friends stopped picking his calls. Even his house was repossessed. He became a shadow of himself, sleeping in a hotel corridor with just a nylon bag of clothes. Mama Deo began to dream. In one dream, she saw a strange woman sitting on her son's chest, laughing. That's when she knew, this was spiritual. Adedeo moved back to Oyo in shame. He couldn't face his parents, so he stayed in a small boys' quarters his friend managed. The same people that once called him tech guru now avoided him like a plague. He tried to start again, but every effort failed. Jobs. Nothing. Loans. Denied. Crypto. Crashed. His health began to fail too. He had spiritual attacks at night, screaming, sweating, and waking with scratches. Yet he refused to go spiritual. I just made a bad investment, he told himself. But deep down, he knew it was more. Meanwhile, Mama Deo began a 21-day night vigil. She would kneel by her son's door and pray, pouring oil on the ground. She refused to sleep. She cried. One night, she dreamt of a river, dark and deep. She saw Adedeo inside, drowning. She stretched her hand, and as she called the name of God, the river parted. The next morning, Adedeo woke up and cried like a baby. "Mummy, I need help." She held his hand and said, "This battle is not carnal. We must fight spiritually." Mama Deo took her son to a Muslim cleric near Isayan. For 3 days, they fasted. No phone, no meat, no distractions. Just prayers and Quran. Imams prayed over him. Some warned that the woman he slept with was not human. "You deposited glory inside her body," they said. "And until you break that covenant, nothing will work." Deo wept. He had never believed in all this. But now, he had nothing else to trust. One night during prayer, he collapsed. They said he screamed in a voice that wasn't his. When he woke up, he felt lighter. "Something left me," he said. A few days later, he got a call from a foreign startup he had once pitched to. They wanted to invest. He was shocked. It was as if favor had returned. Mama Deo smiled. He returned to Lagos, this time quietly. He started small again, offering tech consulting. Within months, the business began to grow again. But this time, he wasn't the same. No clubs. No random women. No spiritual blindness. He had learned the hard way that success without God's cover is an invitation to destruction. Deo now runs his company from Ibadan. He refuses to move back to Lagos, despite multiple offers. He tells people, "Peace of mind is my real currency." Every Friday, he goes to his old mosque, prostrated, and prays for protection. His tech company now funds scholarships for underprivileged youths. And every December, he takes his mother on a retreat, to say thank you. People often ask him, "What changed you?" He smiles and says, "A mother's tears and a merciful God." Saad, the woman that ruined him, was never seen again. One prophet said she had vanished into the spiritual realm after losing her hold. Adedeo doesn't seek revenge. He only warns young men, money can make us proud, but it's prayer that sustains us. Mama Deo. She's stronger than ever. When people ask about her son, she just says, "I told God I didn't suffer to raise him, so I won't suffer to bury him." And that's the story of how Adedeo lost everything, and got it all back, through the fire of a mother's intercession. 2 years had passed. Adedeo sat in front of a group of young tech entrepreneurs at an event in Osogbo. They had come to hear him speak, not just about coding or business, but about falling and rising. He shared everything. The pride. The woman. The spiritual blindness. The loss. And how his mother's prayers brought him back. The room was silent. Some had tears in their eyes. After his speech, one boy walked up to him and said, "Bro, I was about to give up. But your story reminded me why I must keep fighting, and praying." Adedeo smiled. That was his new mission now, restoring broken youths, not just building apps. He started a foundation called Adura Tech, where every program begins with prayer before code. At home, he would wake up early to hear his mother praying outside his window, like she used to. Only now, her voice was full of gratitude. "Thank you, Lord," she would say. Adedeo had tasted the world, lost himself in it, and came back reborn. Richer, yes, but this time, with wisdom. And that was how Adedeo went from grass to grace, twice in one lifetime. Not just in riches, but in wisdom, peace, and purpose. He lost everything, but gained what truly matters. Because sometimes, the greatest wealth, is surviving the fire and still choosing faith. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and share. This is OLA Stories, where pain meets purpose, and every story teaches a lesson. Subscribe for more real African stories that touch the soul.